Manchester United 2, Liverpool 2, a point apiece for these two massive giants of the English game, but a point which both sides will probably be extremely disappointed with, and a point which they will feel doesn't really do too much for their season. Liverpool in the hunt for the title, of course, and Manchester United desperate for Champions League football next season. Neither team quite done enough. Neither of them quite done enough to go get all 3 points. Let's take a look at why, and let's start with Manchester United and of course trying to play the ball out from the back with Onana in goal, where, as you would expect, Liverpool were challenging United and United struggled to really rise to the occasion from a technical point of view and also tactical point of view to play out from the back. So in terms of tactical shape, Dalot at this point often moves into midfield in these areas to allow Kobbie Mainoo to move a little bit higher up the pitch, leaving us with Onana, Kambuala, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka to play the ball out from the back, and of course these two in midfield. The problem is Liverpool are incredibly good in these areas, so as the ball goes first to Maguire, Liverpool are happy for that to happen, but then after that Liverpool are going to set traps, and as you can see the Liverpool shape is almost perfect. Diaz is ready for Kambuala, Núñez for Maguire, Salah for Wan-Bissaka, and then McAllister and Szoboszlai in the midfield. So Liverpool aren't initially pressing with a great intensity, but they are ready to. And that was the problem which United had basically. The ball would be played initially to Maguire, and then Liverpool go, from here, can you progress through us? Can you move the ball into the second phase? And ultimately, the answer was no. Now, you might think, for example, you could go back and use Onana like this. Kambuala could move wider, receive the ball like so, and then perhaps he could play down the line, for example. The problem is Liverpool are just so clever. Their players are so clever with how they press. Someone like Diaz, as this ball is going to come over, he's going to make a real conscious effort to press, initially going wide and then coming back in, stopping Kambuala from playing down the outside, forcing him inside the field instead, again where the Liverpool press is now ready to go and nick the ball. So the Liverpool press wasn't as intense as normal in the first phase, but then the second United tried to progress it further, Liverpool were there. As a result, United often went back to Onana in goal, and he went long, 14 attempted long passes, but only one completed. Now you might think that that means Onana had a terrible game with his distribution, but that wasn't necessarily the case. Yes, it wasn't his best performance ever on the ball, but it's actually more of a case of the players he is going long to can't really win the duels. Someone like Kobbie Mainoo, for example, he's obviously a brilliant player. Physically, he's done well since he's come into the side, but he's not a player who wants to deal with a lot of long balls in the air, aerial battles. It's not really his game. The same for Bruno Fernandes as well. It just doesn't suit them. And then also, Rasmus Højlund up top had a really difficult game once again, because when the ball is coming up to his chest and he's up against Virgil van Dijk, the master of these situations, it ends up being a bit of a mismatch really. Now hopefully Højlund can develop in that area in the future and eventually it won't be a problem. But yesterday it was, and United struggled. They couldn't really play out from the back and move the ball through the thirds in that way, but they also couldn't go long and get on the second ball. So as a result, United struggled to ever really get grab of the ball and ever really control possession. Now, of course, whilst United may have struggled for control in possession, there were still moments where they get the ball. United have quality players, the likes of Dalot, Casemiro, Kobbie Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes. These are all good footballers who can make something happen with the ball. So there were, of course, situations where United could get on the ball and try and hurt Liverpool. And the tactical structure allowed them to do this. Because what we can see is that if United could deal with the first phase or could deal with a second ball or something like that, they are then overloading the Liverpool midfield. Liverpool only have 3 players in this area. Granted, they are highly energetic, but United have 4. And of course, when you have 4 players up against 3 and you're using quality footballers, you do have the opportunity to move the ball through the thirds into some good positions. The problem from here, however, was just that United struggled to execute. They got into the positions and the opportunities. Rashford was running out wide down the left-hand side, Garnacho from the right, Rasmus Højlund through the middle. There was opportunities to hurt the Liverpool defence, but United really struggled to execute in midfield. Casemiro's 67% pass accuracy, it's not ideal. It really points to quite an inability to get on the ball in midfield. But then also Bruno Fernandes, someone who is so good in transition normally. In this game, he wasn't really. In this game, he struggled with the final pass. Of course, his goal is just beautiful. But his actual all-round play, in terms of particularly in transition, picking the right weight of pass, but also the right timing of pass, we saw it in the first minute, just was off. It was just off, and that was the problem for United. We got into okay areas, but the quality on the ball, at the end of the day, just wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. Liverpool were superior physically. United couldn't really get on the ball, and when they did, the quality was poor. So United struggled to threaten Liverpool apart from 2 moments of just pure brilliance.
So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, jerseyfifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFIFA for 10% off when you order.
For Liverpool, it was almost the complete opposite. Tactically, they had a lot of control and got into some unbelievable areas. They were just brilliant. In the final third, whereas United had that moment from Bruno Fernandes or that moment from Kobbie Mainoo, Liverpool lacked their moments players. Salah didn't perform, Luis Diaz didn't perform, Darwin Núñez didn't really perform. However, tactically, they completely controlled the game. And it started due to their ability to play the ball out from the back. They were very, very good in these areas. United were a little bit poor. So as we can see here, United are in a 4-4-2 shape for this game. So Bruno Fernandes is essentially playing alongside Rasmus Højlund out of possession. Now initially, that doesn't look like a horrendous shape. For example, the wingers could go man-to-man with the fullbacks, and perhaps Højlund and Bruno Fernandes could use a piston press in these areas. However, Liverpool were very clever with what they'd done here. They moved Conor Bradley and Andrew Robertson a little bit higher up the pitch like this to drag the United wingers back. Now they have isolated the Manchester United front 2 in a 4 versus 2 situation. Still, United can do okay with this. They can deal with this. So what Liverpool then do is move the centre-backs incredibly wide. Now what happens here is United are really challenged and asked a question. So what Kelleher is going to do, he might go wide to Quansah, for example. Bruno Fernandes is going to come across. Now Højlund now sees this as the opportunity. Quansah is going to be forced backwards. Højlund's now got to go over here, curving his run to block Endo in this position to go put pressure on the ball. But the problem is Van Dijk is now so open on the other side. And this was a real problem for United. We can see it in this situation here. Kelleher is in goal and the Manchester United front 2 are ready to press. They're currently around Endo. They're in an okay position. But what's going to happen is that as United maintain this front 2 in this initial position, Liverpool are going to move the centre-backs wider. So Quansah is going to move it into a wider position. Now what this does is it eventually means that Kelleher can play the wide pass to Van Dijk on the left-hand side. As the ball goes, United lock on. Rasmus Højlund goes man-to-man with Virgil van Dijk, Kobbie on McAllister, and you can see Bruno Fernandes. He has sensed where this pass from Van Dijk is going. Bruno Fernandes is going to sprint over to press, put Kelleher under pressure, but the problem is, there is an entire Quansah on the far side unmarked. So United have gone man for man, but Liverpool have used the goalkeeper and a good system to make sure that they had the extra man. And it allows Liverpool quite comfortably to play the ball out from the back. So the big issue for United was that they couldn't control the game because they couldn't get out from the back and get that foot on the ball. Liverpool were able to do that very, very easily. The next problem from here is that, of course, United are still in a man-to-man fashion in midfield. So, for example, let's say Szoboszlai is going to drop into this position here. Kobbie Mainoo is going to follow him. Let's say McAllister goes over here. Casemiro is going to follow him. But what this does is, we saw it against Chelsea, it allows you to really open up the Manchester United midfield. Really, really badly. You can drag the United midfielders into all sorts of different positions and then open up this massive space in front of the United back 4. A space which Luis Diaz thrived upon. He loved receiving the ball in this area, particularly from Van Dijk, but it could also be Szoboszlai. The ball goes in here. Now Dalot is going to follow him and Robertson is going to fly around on the overlap. Garnacho is going to try his best to track him, but he's at a disadvantage because when he's pressing, he is ball side like this, so that when the ball eventually goes round and over, he's the wrong side and Robertson can gallop forward. And this was the real problem for Manchester United all game long. Not only was the press bypassed too easily like this, but further forward, United are going to go man for man like so. Man for man in all of these areas of the pitch, but Van Dijk is just going to play through all of them. We can see Luis Diaz has moved inside, Diogo Dalot has followed him. Diaz, all he has to do is poke the ball wide, and Robertson now has all of this space to gallop into. He's got so much room. And Robertson loves doing this. He absolutely loves doing this. This is his game. Being athletic down the left-hand side. Not being cute in the middle third and things like that. Flying around the outside on the overlap. Getting the ball into the final third from where his crossing was dangerous. There was a lot of crosses from him in this game. To be honest, a ridiculous amount. But I thought he was most effective when he utilised the cut back to the edge of the penalty area. Because that is where Liverpool had room. The question is, why did Liverpool have so much room? Well, as United had been bypassed. And Robertson has kind of yeeted round down the left-hand side. Kambwala's going to drop to defend his box. Maguire's going to do the same. So is Wan-Bissaka. But Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo have all pressed high. it leaves this big old space. And we know that Casemiro this season has struggled to get back and cover that space. And it led to real problems for Manchester United. Real problems. Now, in the second half, Ten Hag did go some way to addressing this, and we saw less of that Robertson threat. The way he done this was by simply dropping the team a few yards, dropping us a little bit deeper. Bruno Fernandes was now in more of a 4-1-4-1 shape. We're a little bit deeper, so there's less space to attack. But the result of that was then we didn't have that transitioning threat, and realistically our only threat in the game was again pure quality. Random individual moments, game breakers, Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie, Mainoo, people like that. Outside of that, United really struggled to get into this game, and we'll feel fortunate to get a point from the game, although it could have been 3. It's a dubious penalty decision, let's be honest, but I don't really want to look at that today. Ultimately, United take a point. It's not a bad point. If you had offered it before kickoff, I think people would have taken it. But in the grand scheme of things, we didn't play that well. It wasn't catastrophic, but it was a pretty poor performance tactically, individually. And the point doesn't really do much for the top 5. And that's the story. That is what happened for Manchester United versus Liverpool. United held on against a better team. That's all I've got to say for today. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the video. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.